Welcome, it's Psychic Angel One. I know you guys are out there. You've been craned with your necks to the skies today for the eclipse, which apparently, according to the authorities, was going to shut down the whole United States. Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, they thought all the sunshine states that were using solar would just be melting down, baby. That's what they said. Yeah, because 45 minutes, well, actually, it was more like 5 minutes of darkness will annihilate our grid. Now, without further ado, I've got exciting news for you. I finally got my first hip-hop man on the show, producer and esoteric speaker. He's been influenced by the work of Manly P. Hall and inspired by greats like Jordan Maxwell, my personal favorite, who started me with the whole movement with the Matrix. The first person that I ran into on the YouTube was Jordan Maxwell. And really, if you just started in the Truther movement, I would highly suggest you do check out some of his historic work, because he's quite well, he's an intellectual, and he's well-versed in not only political but other more esoteric and religious as well. He brings in a lot of religious truth. So we're talking about TruthSeekah. TruthSeekah is a hip-hop artist, as well as, like I said, he's involved with this spiritual movement, the Awakened movement, and I'm excited to bring him on to see what he's got to say about his journey. And without further ado, welcome to the show. It's spinning. Hey, welcome to the show there, TruthSeekah.
Hey, Angel. Thank you so much for having me on your platform. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Right. Well, I heard you're you're out there in the States yourself, and out there in Alabama, which is really
Alabama.
Exciting. And that's right. And I was just speaking to you briefly about some of the things you've been going through. I wanted to give a chance for people to understand. How did you, I know from just dropping a few names there of the people you're interested in, but how did you get to that point where you went from wherever, your basic hip-hop guy, to, I really want to dig in, go into the rabbit hole?
I went really deep down the rabbit hole, and it's a very long story, but to try to make a long story short, I can say that when I was a kid, I was having a lot of paranormal encounters in my bedroom at night, beings coming into my bedroom, and just different supernatural things of seeing like lights in the sky and feeling a presence in my room around me, seeing things at the corner of my eye, and just being like totally infatuated with the occult and with the paranormal and things like that, and trying to make sense as a kid, having these experiences and being really drawn to that kind of stuff. So I got into the occult as a kid, and not really having any direction of what books to read and what to do. I got in kind of over my head as a teenager, and I got with some warlocks who were in it for the malevolent side. I'm just a teenager, interested in spirituality, interested in trying to make sense of religion, of God, and the other side, because I know it exists. And so I had these warlocks come into my life and begin to teach me different things about the dark arts and about mixing it all together, and just communicating with demons and elementals and stuff. And it was from a very young age, but they did it in a really negative light. So I ended up getting into this really crazy place after having a couple of experiences with entities that scared the crap out of me, changed my life, but made me aware that there was something beyond the veil. Like, I reached into the void and I tried to touch the other side, and something reached and touched back. And so there was something there. So I had these encounters as a teenager with elemental spirits, and they manifested, and they're real. And it led me down that road even deeper, though. Even though it scared me, it jarred my interest to know that if I tapped in, maybe that I could summon these elementals. Maybe I could have communication with these realms as well. So long story short, I got into it and I got really deep, but there was no structure, and ended up getting to a really bad place of because I was, we were dealing with drugs, and I was a troubled teen, robbing people, gang activity and stuff, and then mixing the occult, Ouija boards, seances and spirit realm with
That's
it.
a bad
and that was a
combination, though.
very bad concoction.
My goodness.
Very.
Like the two of them together, that's just nightmarish, you know?
It's crazy because, like, a lot of times we talk about meditation and we talk about the spirit realm of something that can help you. Like if you spend time in meditation, you connect with God, you connect with Source. Like, these are beautiful things that can change your life and put you on this road of something greater for your life. But when you're doing all of that stuff and you're mixing it with pretty much, you know, this destructive lifestyle, it was a bad concoction. And
right.
I basically gave these spirits and these unclean spirits, and if we want to call them demons, and all types of, because I was doing seances trying to open up my mind to any entity that was around.
Well,
I wanted to see something
because,
again.
People, TruthSeekah, we are with TruthSeekah, and he's talking about some of his experiences that brought him to later into his hip-hop career. But I wanted to ask you, because many people mess around, you know, in my world, psychic medium world, I'm very, very cautious about what I let into my life, period. People and unseen, clear, and what you call unclean. Is there something that struck you as there was a negative one and there was a positive one? Or how do you differentiate between these? Because you were in that world. I wasn't. I've only experienced one person in my life that was, quote unquote, possessed, really possessed, and I didn't even believe in that. I wasn't even into the Christian format of, you know, Satan, and I wasn't even into it, so I didn't believe it. And when this guy was possessed, and I saw what I saw, and it was no doubt in my mind, this guy hypnotized 4 people in the home I was staying in. I was about 19 or 20, and he stopped me. I was trying to walk up to him. He stopped. Dude, he stopped my whole body. I couldn't move. And there happened to be a Bible, because at the time, remember, I was not a Christian, and I'm still not a Christian. But the point is, I knew enough to pick up a Bible, because all I knew was from the movies. I picked up this Bible and started trying to talk, and he was laughing. I could hear him in my head, telepathically laughing.
Wow.
Like, you can't use that against. You don't even know how to use. It was trippy, dude. That's when I was like, okay, there is a dark side. This is messed up. So I wanted to hear your counter story to that story. Did you experience any supernatural stuff like that happening with these elementals?
You know, man, I did, and the most supernatural thing about it, and as far as the attacks from those that are dark spirits and dark forces, is exactly what you said, is that they want to get in your head. They want to get in your mind. And so I got to a place where I was dealing with these dark entities, and I couldn't tell anybody. If I was to tell the doctor, they were probably going to put me on meds and put me on all kinds, you know, maybe a psychiatric ward or something. But I was being pulled in and out of trances in the middle of the day and seeing the spirit realm, seeing spirits and ancient entities flying around me, trying to talk to me, speaking other languages that I couldn't understand at the age of like 14 and 15 years old. This scared the hell out of me. I didn't know what to do. I was losing my mind. And it was at that point that I felt like, we kind of hear the expression all the time, I feel like I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. Well, I felt like that was real. Like I was really losing my mind. Like something was trying to take it from me. Not that I was just losing it, but something was trying to take it from me. And that's when I just kind of hit panic mode. And I had been in church a few years before that. So I had been in churches and experienced this bliss in some of these prayer meetings in the presence of the Holy Spirit. I've been there, and I fell away from that. So I knew that there was something peaceful there, though. So in the midst of all this darkness and confusion, I remembered that what these people had, I used to have, and I want it back. I don't want all of this. I got really sick, coughing up blood and hearing voices in the middle of the night, and I couldn't. I couldn't look anybody in the eyes. It was stuff that you see out of the horror movies, like literally. And I went through it. It was so scary, but I just got to I got to a place where I hit rock bottom and called out to God, and I had my girlfriend with me, and she prayed for me, and I woke up the next morning. I felt better, and we went and we took all of our idols and everything that we had, all these statues and stuff. I threw everything away. I said, I got to give my life back to God. All of this stuff is just too much. I can't handle it. We got rid of everything. Got in the phone book trying to call a preacher to come pray with me. That was September 7th of the year 2000. So I gave my life to God. We got into church. We're walking with God. We're doing the Christian experience. And God just begins to take me deeper, into his spirit, into his truth, into the scriptures, and then just kind of opened up everything of fasting and praying to where all the questions that I had were being answered. He would answer them and set up synchronicities and all types of things. And then begin to let me down of studying angels, the different angels that are mentioned of in the Bible and the hierarchies and stuff. And then having these angelic encounters. And this is probably over like a 12-year span.
Yeah, you're trying to compile your life.
So doing,
I get it.
Yeah, I'm trying to make a long story short. So to have this, this Christian experience, and then going deep into it, and deep into the Bible, deep into the mystical encounters of Jesus, of the Apostle Paul and the patriarchs of the Bible, and knowing that they had angelic visitation, knowing that they were called out of their body and they would travel back and forth to heaven, and having these experiences myself, and then trying to talk to people in the church realm, and they have no idea what to say. And this was beautiful stuff. This was awesome stuff. Psychic abilities, all of these things that are mentioned of in the Bible in a beautiful light. And so to have those almost same encounters that I had when I was going insane, but have them in the newness of light and walking in the light, and everything was beautiful. So it was just kind of like night and day, 100% different.
Yeah, that's what
so
I was
that was,
tell
like
people,
I said,
you had been attacked and you got into the paranormal, and part of the paranormal can be the dark side, of course, and it can be very exciting, and it can pull you in. And I think some people need to know, a lot of people who mess around and think it's cool to understand that these things, whatever they are, like you said, you can name this. Some of them are demonic, some of them might be alien. There's a mixture, and when you start playing in their world, they run their world, and they want your soul. They got nothing but deception for you, right? They want to own you, so they will pimp you out. So don't think you're bigger than them, and you can get really completely taken out. Like this is no joke. I don't tell people, do not channel unless you really have been summoned and you are in a godly place and you do understand what the principles are. And I don't have to see a dark side but one time. That one experience where this guy paralyzed 4 people and then my throat, and I couldn't walk and move, and he was telepathic, was enough to say, and he had claws came out of his fingers. Broad daylight, dude, daylight. This guy was a small man. When he grabbed my wrist, I knew he could break it. He was a tiny guy. He was about 4, maybe just under 5 feet. He was a tiny man, and I'm 5'8" almost. So I towered over him by weight and by I was fairly muscular myself. So this guy, he grew claws or however they did it. Again, I don't know all the tricks of the trade. It may be something where same with alien. People talk about the aliens. They can do the same thing where they put a holographic thing in your head. I don't care. All I knew is this thing had claws. It had red eyes, like you said, right out of a horror flick. I'm staring at this thing, and it's talking to me, and it was almost laughable. I said, this is like a bad B movie, and this dude was not home.
Yeah.
The soul that was in this man was not home. Somebody else was in that body, operating it, and it sounds really delicious and stuff. Watch it in the movies and leave it alone. Leave that stuff alone, because you can die so fast. I'm surprised you're alive. To the story you told, because
me too.
They take a lot.
I'm here for a reason.
Yeah, they take a lot of people out.
I'm here for a reason, and it's very scary. It's nothing to play with. So there's always we always urge caution with doing anything in the spirit realm. And we, like you said, if you're going to travel those realms, you better know your stuff. You got to know the tricks of the trade. You got to know universal law. You got to know your authority. And so you got to be able to have that authority to walk in those realms. And so now walking with God, being under the order of Christ, under the order of Melchizedek, we walk in the light as he is in the light. So we don't fear any darkness anymore. So now we're going into those areas and we're busting up all of that stuff. And so people who are addicted to drugs and have all types of bondages going on in their life, we go into those areas, pull them out, and we speak life into them. And so we're seeing healing take place to people who are still in some of the darker witchcraft and they have questions and things like that. We're not afraid to go there. That's our realm. God, he didn't call me out of it just to put me in a church somewhere and put me in a corner. He sent me right back into it, and to really be able to go into the spirit realm, to move things around, to shift things, and to speak to those things that are not as though they were. This is our authority. We can do this. And so we're mentioning how do I get into people like Manly P. Hall and Michael Tsarion and Jordan Maxwell? It's because they have a piece of the truth as well. And they talk about vibration, and they talk about the power of words, and the power, and that's one of Jordan Maxwell's big things is the power of words and the power of spelling and writing. And so that's
he is
kind
a
of
master at words. Really, right?
And words and spellings, and it really is spirituality 101. 101 is to understand the power of the spoken word.
I want to ask you now, since that's been happening, usually teenagers, by the way, a lot of teenagers do, that's when it starts, either childhood or teenagers, where this paranormal activity starts around puberty, actually seems to set it off. You have a high vibration when you're in puberty. And people with high sex drives also, I believe, may end up getting drawn into porn or other those types of nefarious activities and get into addictions, right? It's the same thing. What I was going to ask you is, now you haven't been visited by anything, or when you do you just basically use your power of your prayers and just knock it out the bedroom, or they just don't come anymore?
Well, that's what we talk about now, is that like it's almost whatever level that you're vibrating at, whatever stuff that you're doing, whatever you're letting into your life, when you cross over into those realms, when you play in the spirit realm, that's what you're going to see. If you're vibrating at a low level of where all of the demonic entities are, and they're at the very elementary levels. So basically, when you get into it, you kind of have to deal with those guys in your own life, and they're there for a reason. They're there to teach you things, and you have to learn from them, even though it is scary. And if you don't do the work, if you put your hand to the plow and you look back, you can die. So it is very important to know that they're there for a reason. So don't think that they're just, you're just being attacked and it's just this too shall pass. We have to learn what type of doorways that we've opened up, what type of material we're letting in our life, who we're letting speak over into our lives. Just like you said about the man who had all of these supernatural powers, there's people out there who have made pacts with invisible entities that are warring against the hearts of men. And there are humans out there who have made pacts with these entities and women to get power, to get power and authority, and they're going about it the wrong way. It never ends well. I know guys, I know warlocks who are walking in what seems to be supernatural power. They can summon demons, they can summon elemental spirits, but I tell you the truth that when they're at home by themselves in the middle of the night and nobody's there, they are miserable, they are lonely, and the only thing that's there with them in their houses, in their apartments, are demons. And these demons torment them, they mess with their mind, they'll wake up in the middle of the night and it'll sound like there's a party.
I heard from on the YouTube, watching a lot of these people reveal their musical. I'm talking about the top tier of the musical artists out there, the top 40. That some of these people are talking about being tortured in the night, not being able to sleep. Of course, if you don't sleep for a little while, you go psychotic. That's the end of that. That's a quick way to go completely into the insane asylum. It's nothing new, but this is being revealed through their songwriting or lyrics. They're talking about it being two people. What's that about? You see that a lot of talk about split personalities. You heard about that, where they got something inside them that all. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Yeah, it's at every level, and like the higher that you go, you have to sign those blood oaths and those blood those blood covenants. And we look at, I think the number one example right now in the media would be Kesha, and her story is kind of out there in public, where her publicist and her manager was trying to molest her and rape her and have sex with her and stuff like that. And she's not supposed to talk about that stuff because it comes with that territory. But now she's suing him. She's talking about it. She's going viral about it, and she's exposing it. And then all the pedophile rings and all of the stuff that goes on in the entertainment industry. But now people are talking about it, and it is insane. And the stuff that they put into their music and the subliminal messages and backward masking, and like a lot of times what we do, we kind of use some of that same technology that they do, but we use it for the light. So like a lot of times they'll maybe record a song, but they'll record these different chantings and incantations to fallen angels into the recording, but they turn it all the way down. And we'll do the same thing, but for the light. We'll do it for the light. So now when people are listening to our music and the music that we're working on, we'll go in there and we'll do a prayer. We'll do a incantation of peace and love and protection, and that God would encounter them in a deeper way, and love would encounter them. And so people are listening to our music, and they're being taken on spiritual journeys by listening to a CD, and it's just opening up new realms of existence for them through awakening. And it's been so beautiful that I've been privileged to actually have the ability to do that and to understand the power in the words and in the music. It's amazing.
It's good to know that we have, some kind of a balancing with this, because also it brings up another point, because I'm also a musician myself. It brings up a point about, like you said, about vibration and what you put down on the digital, on the digital studio, where your head's at, what you're putting out there is a frequency, and that when you go bobbing your head to these tracks, you got to be kind of cognizant of that energy that it could be fun and playful. I love, all kinds of music, especially really funk. I like funk. I'm a big funk fan, and if it feels good in your body, and you know what I mean, if it feels you feel happy or joyful with it, I think that's or you feel fun or sexy with it, I think it's all good. I think it's a question of just really it lifts you up somehow. But the thing is, like you said, embedding the music with some positivity, because there is so much on the airwaves, the FM airwaves, and everywhere music's played. There's so much infiltration of and I've heard it. I don't know. You're very well tuned, I'm sure, like a well-oiled machine with a lot of the work. It sounds like you've done a lot of spiritual work on yourself, and you've been through a lot of things. So that makes a man wise, and also have subtleties. And I'm assuming so. And I have heard those, what you talked about, those incantations. There's times that I'll be just, I'll roll up and listen to some tracks just in the back while I'm doing my housework, whatever, and I'll hear it, and it sounds awful. Like, it just makes me cringe. But there's nothing there but a chorus going, right? A chorus in a song. But all of a sudden I feel really weird, like really, something doesn't feel. And the song's fine. The song sounds like a fun song, but something about it just, I have like cat scratching or whatever you call it, chalkboard scratches, and I have to turn it off. And I'm like, they put something in that song. They put something in that song.
Yep.
To get to work on your subtlety, because we are vibration. We are electrical, magnetic, right? We have water in our body. We're a biological machine, really, when you think about it. And we are moved by sound. Sound vibration moves us to do things. Everything from falling on the ground in pain to screaming in pleasure. I mean, they know how to do that, too. The scientists know how to do all that. So this is not woo-woo, we're out there with all these strange ideas. No, these are facts. These are facts and figures. A long time ago they learned this. Like probably in the 40s and 50s they knew all about sound vibration. They use it in the military. They use it on people now.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you do the research and you go back and check out Mozart and Bach, and so they would go to church services to actually lead the music, because they understood that the music and the sound vibration could create a spiritual encounter, and literally they would sit between the symphony and feel the vibration of the music, and it would almost open up portals for them and create spiritual encounter. And this is like some of the early music of Mozart and Bach. And there's so many researchers out there who are doing the work on that. And there's so I was talking to Eric Dollard, who is just like Tesla 2.0 for the most part. And this is his subject. And he was talking about how they, through sound and through music and concert and things, that it almost forms entities through the sound vibration.
What?
And they have these different cameras.
They
have these different cameras set up that show some type of entity being formed through the music that is being played.
Okay, hold on.
That's so deep.
I have to back up a little bit. You're saying that it manifests through sound. There's an actual spirit that comes up. It creates its own body, if you will.
They have.
Whoa.
They have cameras where
there. I'm going to have to explore that. I really glad you brought that to our audience.
And
because that kind of brings up a lot of things about these.
It's super deep.
And the concerts that they're putting on, and what they do to people, and how they put them in trance. And like I said, I'm not saying don't listen to some music, because all music has its value. I'm not trying to say, oh, well, you know, come on, you have to use your head. If some guy's promoting the devil and it's not good for you. It just isn't. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be a Christian. I'm not a Christian. I'm whatever you call it, a-religious. But it's just common sense. If that person promotes that, or something that's comparable to that.
They're becoming just a lot more blatant with it now. You know.
Oh.
With the with the Satanism and with the sex and that.
I mean, Highway to Hell, AC/DC. Yeah, I used to love that album.
You know what though? I worked as a truck driver for about 11 years, and and that song would come on in the morning while we were getting ready to go out for a long drive, and I would turn it off. I'm like superstitious or whatever, but I don't want to be singing Highway to Hell while I'm driving down the highway. No, I'm not doing it.
When you're driving the truck?
Yeah, no way.
It wasn't your anthem? That's funny.
Because I understand the power of music and the power of spoken word, you know?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I know not down. I love all music, like I said, but just be careful. I'm saying just be careful of what you lay on your head, especially if you're not feeling well, especially if you're going through depression, which a lot of people are going through anxiety and depression because we're under so much oppression. I almost sound like I'm ready to do some hip-hop myself. But I wanted to bring up a little bit of your music from that. Now, this is an older track, but I want to let people get a taste of where you came from. Now, this track I pulled up from SoundClick, Fire, and that is from TruthSeekah. I want to just play a little bit at the beginning because when did you do this track approximately? I know you don't exactly know, but was this from a first album? Or?
Was probably, no, I've been at it for a very long time now. I put out my first album in 2006, so that song, I believe, came out in 2012.
Oh, that's not old at all. That's pretty young. But for you, you mentioned to me that, you know, look, at musicians evolve and they all love their last works. But I just want to play a little taste of where you came from. So this is TruthSeekah, Fire. I'm just going to play a little bit for you to see where this talented man is at.
Totally.
Oh, baby. I'm a little scared of you. After hearing that.
I'm very big into metal and screamo as well.
On multiple levels. You just heard TruthSeekah, and that was Fire. That's F-I-Y-A, available in SoundClick. And I love it. Listen, I told you I love all music. I'm a musician. That went right through me, like to another room. That was well produced, too. I just want to congratulate you. That's a lovely track.
Thank you.
Anybody want to get a hold of him, TruthSeekah, that is Truth, SEEKAH, the one and only from Alabama, where all the writers are, where all these wonderful creative people are out there in Alabama and in that territory. And so we were speaking to you about where do we go? We've gone all over the place with some of our esoteric conversations.
Oh, yeah.
I think we left off talking about sound vibration, how it affects you, lyrics, how it affects you. And I'm curious about this with your musical career, too. What happened when you first went out there and dropped this on people's heads? Because you're coming from, really, you had a street, thug, little bit of life there. It clearly comes through.
Yeah.
But you're not dropping that on them. You're not talking about capping someone and doing all that nasty stuff.
No.
You know, so you came at it, but still really hard, though. But I heard something about the gospel truth in there, something about, you know, you got the Holy Spirit. I think that, I was like, man, I got the Holy Spirit after listening to that for 5 minutes. Shoot. You could turn me out. I think you could turn Christians out with that. I think you could turn Jews out with that. Muslims, anybody. I think it's powerful. I think you're onto something.
It is for everybody.
I think you're, but never mind what I think.
It totally is for everybody.
I do want to know what the reviews or what people were coming back to you with, good and bad. I'm curious what they said.
Okay, well, when I started out doing music, it was all gospel. So I started back in like 2003, 2004 doing gospel rap with some people because I was into the church scene. So I grew up in the church scene as a young man and learning how to rap and being taken under some other people's wings and getting out doing many concerts in the ghettos and the hoods and church services and youth groups and all that. Over the years, man, I've performed at hundreds of churches. So it was all just like kind of gospel hip-hop music, gospel.
Oh, then I'm really interested.
Rap about Jesus.
I'm really interested.
Right.
What happened when you played this in church?
Exactly. So they all, I mean, for the most part, they all accept that. Maybe not the screaming stuff. That stuff really isn't, you know, with the screaming stuff going on. That really isn't accepted in all churches, but the hip hop, because we did a lot of small ghetto churches or whatever, and they were big in the hip hop and stuff. So it kind of fit well. You know, that was all good for the most part. But then when I started getting into the esoteric stuff and mixing that into the music, and still being in the church circle. Now, I never went to churches and started talking about mysticism and, you know, aliens and UFOs and spirits and stuff like that. But that stuff began to come out in my music, and I began to research it and have encounters that took me deeper. And as an artist and as a psalmist, it just began to come out within my music. So whatever I'm going through would come out. And first, you know, in those early levels, it was about the government and about 9/11 and Alex Jones, and that stuff came out early. But then as I began to go deeper, then the music got deeper. So we're not just talking about this outer court, you know what I'm saying, everyday happenings or whatever. We start going in deeper into the Holy of Holies and what it's like to go behind the veil and seeing the spirit realm and some of the things that you experience there. So when I begin to talk about some of these things, then that kind of threw a wrench in the system because I'm doing church shows and stuff like that. So immediately I had to, you know, I was kind of cut off from that circle. They didn't really embrace it. And I kind of thought that they would. I thought that it would open up dialogue because I'm coming from a scriptural standpoint about many esoteric understandings that are in the Bible. And I would put that in my music, whether we're talking about Orion's belt, the star system, Orion, the Pleiades, angels, aliens, UFOs, voices, traveling, like leaving your body and traveling to heaven, like all that stuff's in the Bible.
To be fair, you are in the South, too.
Yeah.
That's like the Baptist capital, right?
Exactly.
You're in the heart of
exactly. If I was in California, it might have been a different story.
Yeah, if you were in New York, it'd be different. You would have been embraced differently. To be fair,
exactly. So it was hard making that transition.
Yeah. I pulled up.
It was hard making that transition.
You're really multi-talented too. You guys have to go to see his site too, because his site is a sight to see. You get some beautiful work on there on your website and under TruthSeekah. And also, I just pulled up a couple more albums that you've been very humbly quiet about. I believe Second Life. That's yours. So you got this man.
Second Life is
5 releases, it says.
Second Life is the newest track.
On your discography. How do you, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
You've been doing a lot of things. You have not been still, my man. I mean, these are, so this is
the longest I've been still.
Oh, my goodness.
Second Life, that's a newer one.
Take My Life, Awaken the Fire, and Spiritual Alchemy. Which one did we pull fire off of? Do you remember? That's a trick question.
Fire. Okay. So fire was from Awaken the Fire, but it was kind of like a track that went before that. So it was like a leftover track from an album. So that song is even out of place on that album. So the whole album is laid back, you know, deep revelations of God and mysticism and mystical experiences. And then there's this one in your face, fire screaming Holy Ghost track, you know what I'm saying? That was kind of left over from the Awakening. Just crossing over from the Awakening, you know what I'm saying? And so that made it on that album. So yeah, it's a beautiful track though. It's awesome. Here. So.
Imagine.
Oh yeah, so it's all just about.
Imaginex featuring Illuminati Congo and the Watchmen. That's yours.
Oh yeah.
Listen to this, you guys. You gotta. I'm sorry, I gotta let them listen to this. It's crazy. Listen.
Sometime a domain unknown to ordinary people. But over the centuries, exceptional human beings learned the secret of moving between the worlds. The Imaginatrix is the land of all dreams fulfilled. It's larger than you can imagine. It's a universe inside the human mind, and it's where the future is going. It is where our destiny lies. In a place where realities are made of thoughts, and where the only laws are the laws of the human imagination. Reflected in meditation, chilling in the treetops with the Ewok, connected in constellation, magical mystery, prophecy, energy, filling me, there is no stopping me, dopamine levels of sync with astrology, planet is shifting like beings are calling me, teaching in patterns of sacred geometry, angels and demons have taught me theology, speaking in rhythms of secret psychology, honest sometimes it just constantly bothers me, in a reality, in a trance state, summoning the voice of my head when I'm sleeping, not only awake from a dream in a state subconsciously placed of bliss to the gates of harmony, 3:30 a.m. awakened when things go bumping and night, and I'm taken to foreign places, raptured up by your golden light, but my only fear is just falling, after all I'm afraid of fight telepathically to keep telling me that everything is gonna be alright, saturated by the conversation, no time was wasted at a gain insight, indoctrinated from the information with an aspiration to attain the light, to the essence.
Wow. I got no words. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I see why I played the first track from TruthSeekah, which is Fire, and you see the development now into spiritual alchemy, which is he has quite a few tracks out here, ladies and gentlemen. Take advantage of this because, you know, good artists, they're hidden away like little treasures, and it's beautiful to listen to. Like real art, really, it lasts forever. It's really eternal, and it's very inspiring. And you know, try to stay true to your own self. And when you have someone speaking truth to you musically, it keeps you real, right? It keeps you real, just aligning with you. So I really enjoyed that track. That was from TruthSeekah. And the album, which the album's off of Spiritual Alchemy?
333.
333. There you go. Well, where were we? I don't want to do too much interrupting, but I have to hear your music once in a while because it's like a nice little, you know, some people take a little break for a smoke. I take a little music break. But we were talking about the power of sound, and that's how I do it, and how you were making your waves over there in the Baptist, mostly I guess, Baptist churches, trying to bring some harmony between you know, listen, you should be able to be rebellious in the light of God. I'm not a Christian, and I say I'm very honest about that, but I do believe that when you speak your truth, you know, whatever form it comes in, why not? It can be any form. It could be rap, it could be country, whatever. It doesn't have to be in a certain package. But I know that you're also an esoteric artist, so hey, I'm curious about what else happened after you moved on from promoting your music in the churches, and obviously got enough to keep going with making some more albums, so that worked for you pretty good for a while. You and your
well, that's where I'm at now. So it's been about several years removed now, but that was a process of saying goodbye to many of those people and those people that I was involved with for years and in ministry and Christian evangelism and things like that. Yeah, that was kind of a hard process, but it was part of the process and part of my journey. And I mean, I still love a lot of those people, but as far as them being seen with someone like me or with some of the things, if you just heard, you know, even in that one little clip you just played, there's so much stuff that they can't explain and they won't touch and stuff like that. So,
Yes, that scares them, I suppose. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like you said,
but it's been good though, because like.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was going to say something that just really you revealed to me earlier on about the fact that you had to go through. You said this a couple of times actually. You said you have to meet some of these elementals if you're going to go into that occult world. However you enter that world, including, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you meant also any kind of spiritual work you're going to have to go in and meet up with these elementals. You can't avoid that. Is that what you're trying to say? That's what I heard.
It seems you got to deal with you got to deal with your BS. You have to deal with your baggage. You can't skip it. You can't skip it, and it's the hard part. So, like I was saying about going into the spirit realms, when you're vibrating at a really low level, those are going to be the ones that you have to deal with. Now, I don't have any problems with going into the spirit realm. Most of those things don't appear to me. Now it's been all benevolent, positive spirits, and there's so many spirits on so many levels, and everything that you can believe is probably true in the spirit realm, as far as angels and aliens and fairies and spirits of vibrational love and energy. They're all there. They really are. And to be able to move in those realms and be on their team, essentially, and they're here to assist you and to know that. And so it opens up so much stuff versus of going into there and you have to deal with the spirit of addiction or the spirit of abuse or abandonment and things like that. Like, you have to deal with that stuff. And so many people are moving forward now and they haven't dealt with it. And it just comes out, though. It comes out in conversation. It comes out when we mention God or Jesus, and they get upset because of their parents are Christian and their parents demonize what they're doing.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And it just comes out of them. They haven't dealt with it and things like that. So we have to deal with it. And if we don't go into the spirit realm and get healing to do that, then it's going to come out in every aspect of our lives. And that can go from abuse. That can go of being cheated on at a young age by your boyfriend or girlfriend, and then you bring that into a different marriage, and now you're treating your spouse a certain type of way because you were mistreated by a teenage boy or a relationship in high school. And these are all things that we have to get healing from, and we need deliverance from, and we have to deal with that stuff first. So what the Spirit of God is saying is to heal the healers. Heal the healers. There's so many people out there who want to help humanity move into the next phases and to bring love and enlightenment to the world. But in order to do that, they have to deal with their baggage first. And so we've just been helping people do that through the music, first of all, and then we also do private sessions through Skype sessions and healing and speaking words of encouragement over people and dealing with generational curses. Oh yeah, that's what we're doing now.
Okay. Okay, great. So you are set up for what would you call sort of a spiritual therapist, sort of to call it. Yeah. Is that what you
Pretty
call
much. I mean, there's so many different names for it. I don't have a certain name that we go by. People call it energy healing. We call it breaking generational curses, ungodly beliefs, whatever you want to call it, man. We kind of do it all. Right. And it's different for everybody. And I say that because the weird thing about it is all of our clients and everybody who comes are healers, and they're people who want to do what we're doing. They want to do the work that me and you are doing. They want to be confident in who they are. They want to. They
Right. Mm-hmm. So you guys are you and your wife, is it, or you have a team who are open for working with and lightening up some of these people who are out there, the healers, the shamans, all the people that are in their own struggle, because there's nobody ahead of the other guy. It's if you're here, this is just my opinion. If you're on Earth, you got the same. You're the same. You're the same. We are all one. We're all here for the same game.
Yep.
There's no higher. You just want to get to that place where you can do more good for mankind before you get out to the next level. Because who knows? You and I probably have an idea, especially people who have crossed over and people we talk to in the afterlife and some of your dark. We know that if you don't get straight here, you are going to end up hanging around a bad party. I mean, a bad party. You're going to have to go through that, either into some sort of a darkness and just stay there and just swirl around, or somebody will kidnap you. I mean, it's just the same, right? As soon as you go over the veil to the other side, if you aren't at least cleaned up a little. I'm not talking about judgment. Please don't think I'm talking about judgment. I'm talking about it's a self-judgment. It's your own self before anybody jumps down my throat. I'm talking about your own experiences on this planet affect the next experience on, however you choose to view that. And the only reason I know is because the work I do as a medium, I don't make it up. And, you say what you will, the same thing seems to come from all these different souls that have crossed, that they've always really have a lot of regrets. They're happy where they are, they're at peace, but there's a lot of things they messed up. So might as well clean it up here. That's how I say.
Yep. That's what we have to do.
Backyard.
That's what we have to do.
I want to hear more about your the healing work you've done. We've got 12 minutes on the clock, so just keep an eye on that for you. But sort of the process you said, again, they can get you by Skype for, I guess, distance healing, and also that's pretty personal, really, on video. You can look in each other's eyes and do what you need to do and be quite intimate with your healing sessions. But I want to hear more about what you guys do. You have in your house, or do you go to a studio space, or you hold things at community centers, or where do you guys do the work?
Yeah, well, we like to do live sessions when we can with people. We have a lot of friends who are kind of walking along the same vein and the same path, so we like to come together when we can to be hands-on, and those meetings are always powerful when we do that. We usually meet from house to house, or we'll rent a room at a center or something like that and put together just a little night of encouragement and kind of healing for each other, and there's so much power there. But for what I do, it's usually for the sessions is just one-on-one through Skype and through video chat, or even by telephone and things like that. So I could be reached through my website if anybody wants that. If those words resonate with you, if you would like to look into it, I have all the information on my website, so I can be reached that way as well, TruthSeekah.com. But it's all about it's all about healing. It's like I said, my goal, what the universe, what God spoke over me, was to heal the healers, and so I believe that we can only give what we have received. And so my wounds have been healed. I have grace that has been imparted to me, and so that same grace that's been shown to me, we show that grace to others, and not just in a session or anything like that, but just in everyday life, through conversation, through friendship, through just strangers that we meet, in passing at the store. So it really is about a lifestyle and about making spirituality plain and simple. So and there's so many deep and esoteric principles out there, but if we can't break them down and use them to assist us in our everyday life, then it's really all for naught. So whatever
you keep bringing up good points, TruthSeekah. You're bringing up another point. I don't know, we only have 9 minutes, but quickly, please tell people what fear-mongering is and how the trap of getting on, especially because a lot of people watch YouTube and they get onto these. There's a lot of fear-mongering, okay, people? And not only that, there's a secondary, worse application where there's not trolls, but people who are paid to direct the public into negative conspiracy, not the true ones. Not the ones that we've unfolded. This is extremely, once again, it's very nefarious. It's very evil the way they want to turn your they want to grab your interest and turn it against you so you become angry. Yeah? This is what I feel.
Yeah. Yep.
But you could talk about that yourself.
And you know what? And there's so much to that. But I will say that I started out into a lot of conspiracy theories, and that is some of the low-level stuff that people come into awakening through people like Alex Jones, or maybe some of the darker stuff of Jordan Maxwell, and it wakes them up, and then they start asking bigger questions, and they start doing, they're kind of led into spirituality and into awakening, asking the bigger questions. So it's kind of used for good, but people beg me to go in on conspiracy theories, and they want to know what I think about this and what I think about that, and understanding that a lot of that stuff is just to kind of get you sidetracked, and it's made up, and it's done as pranks and as a hoax, and people base their lives off of it, and they make decisions off of it. But like you said about fear mongering, people got to understand, if when we read the scriptures, and there's something so true, we talk about spiritism and we talk about what spirits are, and the Bible says that fear is a spirit. It's a spirit that gets on you. Anxiety, worry, hopelessness, depression, that all comes through the spirit of fear and anger. And God says that I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind. So why would I want to fret and entertain fear in my life, and fear about the future, and fear about the past, even the past?
Yes.
Entertain it. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So essentially, what I don't deal with anymore, I don't deal with truths, plural. I deal with the truth. I don't deal with conspiracy theories and being taken on rabbit holes and things like that.
Already.
We deal with truth. If it can't help you in this life, then why waste your time? Why waste your time?
Right. So you're definitely. It's good to get your point of view about that, because, like I said, I'm fascinated. But you got to remember that too. A lot of people, like myself, I was awakened when I was very young, and when I was, embraced into this and pretty much pulled screaming, kicking and screaming into it. I already had that backdrop to kind of go into the conspiracy stuff. So to me, it's fascinating and entertaining. But I wanted to remind people that don't get your personality kidnapped, and so you become this angry, cynical person. I became that for a little while, before, just around the Matrix. When you first wake up, you get really mad and cynical. Of course you do. You're angry because you look around and you go, I've been duped. Mm-hmm. This is fake. This is all fake, and it's deliberate, and it's pretty overwhelming that you've been duped. You know what I mean? There's nothing worse to have your mind manipulated. But because, like you said, TruthSeekah, you got to at some point just go, I want to be happy, though. I mean, how long am I going to be mad? Yeah. Some people are here to rebel. Yep. Some people are here to scream. Alex Jones, I love the guy. He woke a lot of people up, and that's fine. But then move on from him to another speaker who, lightens your load, right? Just get all that off of you, get all the negative off of you, because you've been programmed. Mm-hmm. Unless you got some light helpers, it's a rough road right now. That's all I got to say. So we got 5 minutes on the clock. So is there anything you want to shout out? Any names, numbers, whatever? Go ahead and let them know.
Yeah, if anybody wants to support my work, if you want to check out my work, so I do a podcast. I do it weekly and then periodically throughout the week. So we do several podcasts a week. We do healing sessions. We do all types of stuff. We're putting out media, and I do music as well. So I do all of this stuff. I just went into a place where I'm doing it full time. So if anybody would like to purchase music, T-shirts, or fund what we're doing, all of that info is at TruthSeekah.com, Truth, SEEKAH.com. And so I have a Patreon where you get access to my entire discography and all of the new music that I'm working on. I'm working on a new album entitled Seer, and so that's almost done. We're working on Watchman's album. That's done. We're getting ready to promote that now. So if you want to move to the next levels and you want a soundtrack to do that and you need help, get some of this music. And the crazy thing about the whole music is, as you were playing it, I'm able to enjoy my own music too. As you were playing the music, I was sitting there letting the music speak over me and wash over me again, and almost like I'm hearing it for the first time, because there's power in it and there's light in it. When we deal with knowledge and information and understanding, the Kabbalistic tradition says that we're dealing with light, and we're light workers. We deal with knowledge, truth, and understanding, and that's the message throughout the music. And so, it doesn't matter who you are, what you've done. God loves you. He's not mad at you. She loves you. The Holy Spirit, the feminine aspect of God, loves you and just wants to embrace you and to cultivate that relationship with you. Don't let anybody take that from you. Don't let your parents, what any pastor or what any spiritual worker spoke over your life. Don't let nobody have that place and that authority in your life. Don't let them rob you from the most precious jewel in existence, man. And that is your inheritance as sovereign children of the Most High God.
Thank you very much, TruthSeekah, and thanks for being on the air with us and staying up if you're on a different time zone. I'm going to say goodbye, love you lots, and send love to all the people you're working with. And we will roll out here a couple songs on the way out of this show. Bye-bye now. Good night.
Shalom. Shalom. Thank you.